some real good friends of mine, that go to our church, adopted from China, adopted 3 kids from China. Their oldest is a girl, and she did this. And she found out she has a sister that lives, I can't remember if it's North or South Carolina, but she biologically had a sister to pop up on her from China, adopted from China.
Oh, wow.
How, and she's gone out there and met her and everything. How cool is that, y'all? That she has a family member, a biological now. And they look alike too.
She might have already been born.
I do have a backup, we're gonna look at this particular backup. This happens to be somebody that I know, so I know he won't object. This is my little baby brother. So, put his number in, put his name in, and put my father's name in, and his birth year only. So, after letting that percolate a little while, you can see this little section right here, you'll see hints. So, cemetery, I got a hint on the cemetery and funeral collection. Let's see what that says. Do I want to look at that? Yep, I want to look at that. So, what this pops up is, they're saying, this is what you got. This is the new information that we've got. So what that has is, my father's name, my mother, he did not have, we don't have her in the tree, so I can say add her. It already knew what her birthday was and her death day. I didn't put that in.
But
Then,
Steve, don't you have to check that?
yeah,
I mean, don't you still need to go find?
oh yes, absolutely, absolutely. But I know that information is right.
Yeah.
But yes, everything in here, you need to double check. Sometimes the dates will be wrong. And
Do
the easiest
you
way to check
edit-
that is you go to find a grave and you pull the tombstone up. You get the information. How it ends up getting wrong, I don't know.
Are you able to just to edit in your tree, or when you edit, does it do it
Just-
system-wide?
No, it's just in your
Just
tree.
in your tree.
It's not gonna change anybody else's information. They're just serving it up for a possibility. Would you like this? It's saying now, oh, by the way, there's a brother. Would you like to add that brother? Yeah, I'll add that brother. Oh, here's another brother.
Here's
Would you
another
like
one.
to add that brother? Yeah, I'll add that brother. And then you can save that to your tree. At that point then, I've got mother and father. If I click then on the father, it's suggesting to you that this is his father and this is his mother. And that is my grandfather and that is my grandmother. So if it's green, it's saying, if you accept this, it'll be in your tree. So I'm gonna accept that. I'm gonna get that same, do I want that information or not? Yes. It says how it got that is telling you that in 8 records, it found that that was true. So it's not just one thing. So this is coming out of actually a census record.
But now, that information is only as good as the 8 documents, meaning that the 8 documents may be 8 different census records.
Yes.
But that brother that you accepted, I know that you
I know that, yeah.
but DNA wise, that
Yeah.
may not be that person's biological
Possible not.
brother or sister
So
or
this,
whoever.
this particular hint is saying, it is looking, it's making that hint based on the fact that this information is correct in 1, 2, 3 censuses, a state census, Find a Grave agrees with that, the Social Security agrees with that,
There you go.
the World War II draft cards agree with that, and the Pulaski County, Arkansas marriages agree with it.
So that's,
So
That's good.
that's the point at which you're gonna say, do I wanna add that to my tree? Yes, no, or I wanna look at that later. If you're unsure about it, say maybe. If you say no, you can still go back and get it, but it basically just gets it out of your peripheral vision, so you're not worried about that. So do I wanna take that? Yep.
if you later did DNA,
Mm-hmm.
would it go back and dispute some of the stuff that you've built in the tree?
Not unless you ask it to.
Okay.
not unless you ask it to. Now, what it'll do is when you look at your tree, if you confirm it with DNA, there'll be a little icon on that person on your tree that shows that's a DNA confirmed. If you got a person in your tree that doesn't have a DNA confirmed, that's the one you need to look at, see is that right or not. It may be just there's a spelling wrong, just, you know, it could be something minor. So this is, so for this individual, he had just a couple of hints. Now we've got 9 hints. So this is in Find a Grave. We've got a hint in Find a Grave. It's got his basic information. And then it puts up the side by side. This is what I've got. This is what it says is right. This is the odd thing about the way they do the dates sometimes. It'll say it's different. We do dates this way. December the 1st, Ancestry does the day, the month, and then the year. So sometimes that will be a little bit different. So the death date, is that right? Yep, that agrees with me. All that agrees with me. The grandfather, we don't have the grandfather in. Do I want to add that grandfather? Yep. Is that his name? Yep, yep, yep. That looks right. The grandmother, I want to add her in. The mother, add her in. Does that all look right? Yep, that all looks right. This is what you can do when you're sitting there in your chair at 11 o'clock at night and you're going to go to sleep. So all that hint was accepted. I've got another one. I've got a hint on this particular individual from somebody else's family tree. It's the Calhoun Bird family tree.
That's my sister.
So this is a situation where this person's already done the work. All I gotta do is pull it up and say, add that in my tree. I ain't gotta type all that stuff in. I don't have to do all of that. So I can review that one. Next one is 1950 census. Censuses are great because all the family is together. So this is this whole family. This is the father, the grandmother, my dad, his brother, James, and 3 of his sisters. You can see who lived on either side of them. You can see my great-grandmother is right there beside her. Miss Byron Sappington. He works at the sawmill. My granddaddy was a farmer. All that looks right. So do I want to accept that? Yep. That different? This particular, the census did not have his middle name, but I have his middle name, so you don't want to, you can either write over it or you can leave it alone. So that's right. Brother, I don't have, so we need to add this brother. And if you don't add one of the parents, it won't let you add a brother. So we're going to add James, who played basketball for Ole Miss, by the way, in 1960 something. Add the sister, add another sister.
That's the sibling to the one on the right.
Mm-hmm, yep. So now let's see what we've got for, this is the grandfather. Now in the grandfather, it's showing his wife now that we've pulled in. I did not enter her. Marshall Wright, I entered him, but I didn't enter his death date. It's populated his death date and 3 of the children. So now I can open any of these children. And what it's done though is, in green over here, it said, I know whose dad, who his dad, mom and daddy are already.
What did you say green means?
It's a suggestion. Green is a suggestion. That's the little leaves, hints are green, and anything he's suggesting. So now, first we started out, we had 6 hints. Now we got 12 hints. It's just going to continue to go. It's looking the whole time, and it's finding. So you can kind of see, at this point, it's suggesting to him, based on the fact that it has found him to be connected in the 1930 census, the 1910 census, the 1920 census, the marriage index, the 1880 census, the 1900 census, the World War I draft recognition, or compilation, and the marriage index, and the find a grave. So 11 different ways it says, we think this is his father. And you
So you
say,
don't really need to check all of that, I mean, you just.
well,
assume.
sometimes you don't get as much.
Yeah.
If you look over there and see how many sources, if it just says one source
Check it.
or something, you know, you need to look at every one of
This
them.
one didn't show, when I was checking on somebody, it didn't show anybody, so I couldn't.
Some people don't have, they just don't leave much of a footprint. I've got another way a different way of finding the younger folks, but, so you can kind of see where it is, where we are. At this point, we can go and look at his tree and see where we are. So at this point, now, you see what just happened?
All the green.
Hence.
It's starting. So all of these, it suggested that it knows who this grandfather was. It suggested that it knows who his wife is, who the husband and wife is here, and it's suggesting another, and then this plus right here says, I got some more. So once you accept this one, then it's gonna continue on. So once you get started, it's gonna I call it auto-populate. It's gonna make you suggestions, and it does take some time, because you don't just wanna say, accept them all. There is not an option to just accept them all. You gotta pull them up, you gotta say yes, no, or maybe.
Can I pull, I'm sorry to
Yeah.
ask so much.
No, it's good.
Can I pull out one of those people and then start a tree on them, or be nosy about them?
Well,
I want to know, who did my great-great-aunt marry? You know,
well, if you just continue going, yeah, you can go down the rabbit hole. You know, for instance, we were in here, and we got all these kids right here, right, out of the census. I can go there and then turn right around and start filling in there, and from there, it's just, this, for every individual, we just keep on going. As long as you want to put information
boy,
in,
that rabbit hole, didn't it?
you pull that individual up, and then you can just start, okay. So I just pulled one of those kids up that we just now found in the census, right? I've got 10 hints on that one kid.
Okay.
And out of that one, so we're already 3 levels down. I've got his tombstone in Troy, Pontotoc County. I've got his obituary. I've got his Texas birth index. He had children in Texas, so I got that. I've got him, he's in the 1940 census. I've got his obituary. I've got where he moved from one place to another in the public records. I've got another obituary from newspapers.com. I've got something in, here's an interesting one. This one is in Illinois. It's talking about James Robbins, and they lived in Elgin, Indiana, and like, he ain't my people. This one ain't my people. This is not. So I'm gonna have to say no on this one. This is not a good. I can close this up, and I'm gonna have to say ignore that one. I don't want to see that anymore. That's not my people. So you have to go through here, and here's one. James Roberts in Grays Lake, Illinois. That ain't my people. Throw that one away. So you do have to go through and look at them and make sure that the names look right. Generally, the location will tell you that's not my folks. So this will go on, by the end of the day, there will probably be 200 hints just from, all I just put in very little information. I put in his name, and I put in his father's name, and that's all I put in. At this point, it's gonna continue going.
The obituaries,
Yeah.
sources, is it just newspapers?
Uh,
And I ask that because, like, when my mother died, we didn't publish it in the newspaper.
Well, that's a whole other thing we want to talk about. What have you noticed here lately about obituaries? Well, what used to happen?
You cut them out of the paper and say,
They were in the Gazette, and then they might be in the Tupelo Journal, but not anymore. Some people do not,
It's the funeral home.
and some people
And they want to charge.
don't have a funeral. There's no funeral.
Used to, they would put it in there.
So that stuff that we're relying on now for this information is becoming, you'd think in this age, we'd be getting more and more information, but in some cases, we're getting less and less information, like the photographs. All these photographs that were in the book, we don't have a photograph album of the last 20 years of my kids' life in it. You know, they're all on somebody's phone, right? So that's a change. So questions about the process? You were talking about DNA, Frank.
If you're gonna do this, you really need to do your DNA, and you need to be open about it. Don't be private, it needs to be public, because you won't be able to find much if you're not.
And if you decide later, you don't want to, one thing you will find though is if you can pull somebody's tree up and you'll see the mother and the father, when you'll get a hint that your person is in her tree and it'll come up. So you can pull all that up and you can copy that over if you want to. But if there's a person that is still living, you will not be able to see their name. It'll just say private. So if you're still living, you won't be able to see them. The only way to be able to see them is if you contact that person through Ancestry, through the messaging. If you could say, would you share with me who these children are? And they can decide to or not to. But if you're thinking about, is this right or not? The DNA is the way to go. There ain't no, my mama said years ago, I don't remember who we were talking about, but we were talking about somebody. And she said, you can't escape your genes. And your mama may have said something similar.
Well, let me ask you on Ancestry,
Yeah.
like I say, I'm confused about through lines, but if you've done your DNA and you're on there, how are you told it's a DNA match?
It tells you on there.
Yeah, on that, up at the top where it says DNA.
You see this little icon right here?
Uh-huh,
That's a DNA match.
okay.
So every one of these,
But through lines, you actually don't have to be, if somebody has it in their tree like that, it'll show up like that, whether you're a DNA match or not.
yeah.
Because I had that happen.
But that little thing pops up without you doing anything if you've done your
Right.
DNA. Okay. I don't remember seeing it.
That DNA, it's interfaced with you and then everybody in your tree. And the great thing about that is if it's confirmed then for you, then when somebody else uses your information, it's already confirmed with your DNA.
That little thing right there.
So it gets double confirmed.
How do you find out what's in your bloodline?
Do what?
How do you find out what's in your bloodline, whether you have?
The DNA section has a whole, there's so much in here. Let's just go to my matches.
I thought that when you took the DNA test, that it would come back and tell you.
It does. That's what I'm fixing to show you. These are the DNA hits I have. In the order, in the highest first. So there's a little number right here,
Yeah.
833. That's basically the count on how close of the DNA. And it tells you this person and I share 12% of our DNA is the same. This happens to be a first cousin from East Union. Carol is my first cousin. So it'll tell you what your relation is. First cousin. I got a lot of first cousins.
Well, and back in the day, you know, 2 generations back, there'd be 15 children,
Oh, yeah.
17 children.
It makes it hard.
13
makes
in
it
my
hard.
dad's family.
So this shows a DNA connection. This individual has a public tree, so he has a tree, so I could go look at his tree. But he only has 3 people in his tree, so he don't have much. And this is,
And they're all broke.
yeah, all these people are there, so I can't see them. So some of these people have a lot of folks in their tree. Some, they've done ancestry, they've pulled it up, and they're not doing anything else. They're not putting anything in.
I'm curious if I just did Christiana and Caleb, it might be too far removed from you, but did you get a notification that
Oh,
you
yeah.
had more
I
cousins?
get an email, I usually get an email about every day that says,
Okay.
you have a DNA match.
Okay,
Would you like to see it?
You probably have both of
Pull it
them.
up.
Caleb's will say CR, I think. It doesn't have his name because he's 15. But Christiana's 23, so hers should give you her name, I think.
Let's see.
So when he becomes of age, will it automatically show the name? Or will you have to go
Probably, yeah,
in?
yes.
If, it won't show their name if they're alive.
If they're
It's all
alive?
on the birth date. If you don't put a death date in there, it's not coming up. Yeah. So the other thing this shows is, do they have a tree? They have a tree, but it's not linked to their DNA. So one thing, when you do, if you already hear an ancestry and then you do the DNA test, you have to go in and say, here's my DNA number, my DNA test number, link that to my tree. These are unlinked trees. This one has a tree, it has 33 people in it. So at this point, I'm not sure how many I have. Okay, so there's 20 on a page, and
wow.
I've got 5,300 pages of DNA matches.
Somebody was very fruitful, wasn't
It's multiplied. Yeah.
And we have 49 centimeters is what our batch is.
Yeah, see this one,
See, that's
this
way
guy
down there.
is 833.
Yeah.
But that's because we're kin on the 2 sides, so
Yeah.
it's like doubling up.
Well,
So Carol and I are 659, which is still a lot. Questions? How many people have not started at all?
I've just done it through Google. I haven't signed up for Ancestry,
Yeah.
but I've gone back to Great just on
Yeah,
Google.
the Ancestry has a, you can go and hire an expert. You can hire an expert if you want somebody to help you with it. So you can do that, you can go, it's not inexpensive, it's probably $250 a year for membership.
I didn't think it would be that cheap.
No, you mean just for membership?
Yeah, so that's every year. That's every year.
Mine's 119 every 6 months.
I know, but she's not that high. He's
No,
not
Then
that
it's-
high.
If you add the newspapers and you add the military, and it can be about over 300,
Yeah.
so that's probably
Well, what do you think it costs to hire the
Saw
expert?
that too, so she's continuing.
$300 an hour.
How much are you getting?
I'm getting 0. I had thought about doing that, but I'm afraid that would be, that's, at some point, things are fun, and at some point, things when money gets involved, it becomes work. I ain't sure I'm gonna mix the two. You know?
Much work.
I'd rather just help people, find their way. Now, I charge the attorneys. I do charge the attorneys. I do charge the attorneys. I had a call from an attorney, and he had a legal document that people had to consent to, and they consented to it about 20 years ago. but they've got a reconsent to it, and he can't find them. I found them, but he got charged for that.
Yes, he
And
did.
He's just gonna pass that through. But I just can't seem to charge people, that I know. Because I know what it means once you got it and once you know it.
Can you look at those DNA charts where they show the segments and all the, all that, and look at that, and really understand it?
I'm not sure exactly
I believe so.
which ones you're looking at.
Well, I didn't even pull it up today. I just thought about that.
This is a section where you can go, and people that are in your tree, I can go and look at all of the DNA hits. Like, this is my great-grandfather. I don't have any DNA matches on him. This is Nora Elsie Ford. I got 27 DNA matches through that one individual. So I can see where that DNA match comes from. So these individuals are I have DNA matches through those individuals.
27 individuals or
27 people in my
okay.
tree, we have the same DNA matches. So that tells you it's a very strong one. Here's one that's 9. Here's one, who is that? Mary Beasley. I have 79 of the DNA matches that I have come through this lady right here.
Wow. So do you ever really claim them as relatives and meet them?
Do what now?
Do you ever really claim them as relatives and meet them? Meet them?
I don't. You know, of course, bless her heart, Margaret Ann died in 1902. She ain't coming to my, she's not coming. Let's see. There again, there's so much in here that I didn't even look at. You look at, let's look at by location. Who are these people? Where are these people that I have a DNA match?
Okay, I'm confused too. You said it doesn't show up until you're dead.
If
What?
you, that there's an objection, some people,
If
if they're
there's an
alive, they don't want
objection.
you to show up in
Okay,
their
okay.
tree. Now, if it's some of your people
Okay.
that you put in, you see them.
Okay.
But if you pull up somebody else's tree, if they have a minor,
Yeah.
they won't
Okay.
show up. So, or if they're living. And the way, sometimes you'll have a person that's in their tree and they put a birth date, but they don't put a death date. So it still thinks they're alive.
Right.
And they won't show up. But you can message the individual and see it. So at this point, the DNA matches that I have, this is the location and how many. So from somewhere around close to us, I got 412. But here's the weird thing. I got 7 in Great Britain. I've got 4 in Central America. Who in the world is this in Hawaii? I don't know these people.
You need to get to know
You need-
them.
right,
need
you
to
need to be
get to know
friends
them.
with
Visit.
them.
I need to get to know these people. Who is this?
Question.
Yeah.
You said or pulled up the 1902 person with DNA matches to you. That's not fresh DNA, obviously. Do they interpolate or
Yes.
they?
Yeah. So, yeah.
So it's not all, they don't do them up.
No.
It's usually-
Once you're kin to them, then everybody that they're kin to, you're linked by DNA. Now, could there be something going on in there, adoptions, that's possible. But they are linked to you through a family DNA match somewhere.
How confident are you, as you go back, that those DNAs truly are lining up or?
I think you can be confident back probably 4 generations. At that point,
Okay.
everything gets iffy at that point. I've got some people in my tree that are all the way back in, at some point, about the year 1000, people didn't even have last names. It's tough to make a connection back then. unless you've got something, that's where you're relying on, church baptism records, that kind of stuff. That's really your only source. Unless you tie in, if you tie into somebody else's tree, and you're just assuming that they have done the right research and their data's right, then you just say, hey, let me have their tree information and plug it into my tree. At that point, then, you know, you're at risk of getting something that may not match. But there's a point at which once you get past about 4 generations, it just becomes like a crossword puzzle. I mean, is there any consequence to having the wrong answer there? There's not really one. So you're not gonna violate a contract by having the wrong guy in your DNA, or wrong guy in your tree. Are there times when I found an individual, my mother got in an argument with an individual that claimed that her grandfather was married to, my grandfather was married to her grandmother, even though he never left Union County, in Arkansas. And she swore up and down and put it in her tree that he was her great-grandfather's.
That's great.
From one picture, he had a brother who lived over there, and there was one picture of them visiting. And so, yeah, people can get off track, that's for sure.
I never use somebody else's tree. I might look at it, but I don't ever use their tree because there could be so many fallacies in their tree.
Yeah. It has to be, you have to know enough about it to know that data is correct.
I always use the census or marriage license, birth certificates, death certificates, find degree. All those are documents that you can use.
Yeah. The only time that usually that I will grab somebody else is if they have got pictures. They're automatically gonna populate those pictures in. But once you get past 1850, you saw the census records we were looking at. You'll see the head of the household and then everybody that's in the household. Sometimes it'll even be, you'll see servants in the household, like maids and live-in butlers. That's up to 1850. After 1850, you see the head of the household and no other names. It'll tell you how many people, how many males were between 1 and 5, how many 6, and it'll tell you the rest of the household by number within an age category, but you don't get all that detail. So once you get back to about 1850 in the census, it gets real hard.
What's the year that burned? One year that.
1890.
1890?
Part of it burned. And so you'll have a gap there where there won't be anything. And then you'll have just some crazy things you'll see. I had an ancestor that you could interpolate from the 1900 census that the child was born in 1895. She didn't get married until 1903. And in the 1910 census, she said the child was 7. So it'll look like she had it before she got married, and she just gave them a different age to the enumerator. So that stuff, you got to keep your eyes open for that kind of thing, for sure.
And spelling is really bad.
Spelling is really bad. For some reason, in the 1950 census, the enumerator, for some reason, everywhere time there was a Robbins, they typed in Robinson. Everyone, and with 2 B's and 2 S's for some reason. I don't understand why, but yeah, sometimes that'll be wrong, and they won't come up. You'll find the person in the 1910 census, and you'll find them in the 1930 census, and they'll be missing in the 1920 census because the spelling's wrong.
They spell it like they said, like they heard it.
They spell it like they heard it. That's exactly right.
I have one that
Sometimes,
dropped the S.
sometimes they would put in, the person wouldn't be there and the neighbor would give them the information. And it ain't necessarily correct and it's not necessarily complete. So you gotta kind of keep your eyes open. The further back you go, really the less accurate it is. And once you get past 1850, it's just hard. You're just relying on somebody else's tree, or wills. It's hard to read those things. Land deeds. If you're looking up on the east coast of the U.S., a whole lot of that stuff was built on land deeds and wills, and that's just not something that we get in. That's the only information they have. If you look in Britain, you got baptism records were a big source of information, because in the baptism record it told who the parents were. But we can't get to that over here. So, any other questions? Well, if you don't have any other questions, leave me your sheets and I will work on them. If you leave me an email, I will send you an email. One thing about Ancestries, if you do work on something for somebody, you can actually email them a link and they can come right in and see the tree without being a member, which is helpful.